We'll return to Star Trek following these messages.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
What I do today is what I've always wanted to do since I was a child. But what I didn't want to do was things that would be less stimulating, things that seemed more average or like, oh, I don't want to have to draw commercial content. Well, that's a great way to toughen yourself up, to get better as a draftsman so that you've prepared yourself to be usable for the artistic marketplace that exists, and then maybe you can work yourself into a position where you can do the stuff that you specifically have a passion for.
If you're here at Word Balloon, it's because you like comics, creators, conversation, pop culture subjects. Would you consider joining the League of Word Balloon Listeners? Patreon.com/wordballoon. For just $3 a month or more, you'll get exclusive access to the Word Balloon e-magazine, featuring transcriptions of some of my best conversations. When you subscribe, you'll also be part of the Word Balloon Book Club, where Brian Michael Bendis and I will pick a comic every month to review and discuss live with the League on this show. Join the League today, patreon.com/wordballoon. Thank you always for your support, League of Word Balloon listeners. All right, everybody, it's that time again. Welcome back to another Trek Watch here on Word Balloon, the occasional comic book conversation show. But today it's all about Star Trek. And look who's back from his away mission for many weeks. Wayne, ladies and gentlemen. He's in uniform. Woo! He looks good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Didn't get disintegrated this time, so that's a plus.
Attaboy. Excellent. Wayne's all caught up on Star Trek Con. Of course, we'll be talking about that today. Some other Trek news as well. Also, though, Wayne was at New York Comic Con. So I don't know how much Star Trek stuff you were able to experience, Wayne.
I know that they had an exhibit. I kind of walked by it. It looked, I'm not going to say lame, but it looked lame. But I think Mitch actually had I think he enjoyed it a little more. Again, I was just walking by because I never went to that side of the exhibition hall, because the way New York is set up, there's like a main hall and then it's like an annex. And it was where Paramount was set up in the annex, because as I was walking through it, I saw like Kyle Baker was set up there, and I'm going, why is Kyle Baker all here, not in Artist Alley? And I'm just going, like, you saw different things and you're just going, why is it here and not somewhere else? Like, I thought Paramount would have been in the main exhibition show floor. So I didn't even know where it was. I just accidentally found it when I was walking by. It looked like there was something you wanted to do, like if you wanted to join Starfleet Academy. And I was
going to say, yeah, they had a booth. Yeah. They had a big thing there. I've seen photos. And I think you likely answered trivia questions and everything. I don't know if you got any sort of diploma.
My time is valuable
or
at
some
New
sort
York.
of
So, yeah. Like in New York Comic Con, it's like even San Diego, your time is valuable. And it was so hard. I don't know what made this year different than last year, but it was hard to maneuver from the first day to the last day. For whatever reason, moving between all the different floors, it was constant amount of people. And it just blew my mind, because it usually You usually get like a little lull, but I didn't find any lull. So
Ever
it was
since they
all I know. It was crazy.
ever since they merged the anime and manga show with the regular comic book North American comic book show,
Mhm.
I'm like, it was already too crowded when it was just comics and American pop culture.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, and I'm like, you get at that, and also, and I'm sure I've told you this specifically, and I might have mentioned it on the show. They moved all the press junkets from the Javits Center to Madison Square Garden, which is a 15-minute walk there, and then another 15 minutes to come back. And it's like, and you're waiting for a press junket, and you're going to spend a couple hours because it's not just the junket, but they're never ready. So, I mean,
Mhm.
literally, it's sometimes, what should take about an hour sometimes takes more than 2 hours. So add another half hour of that. And it's like you just said, your time is valuable. And I'm like, it's not worth it. It's really, really not worth it. I don't need to talk to actors. And it's no disrespect to the times that I have had the opportunity to talk to actors, either moderating panels or meeting them or press junkets. It's just like I've said a million times, the writers are the keepers of character and
Mhm.
story. They know more about it. I mean, after a few years, certainly there is more ownership from the actors and stuff. But really, a lot of times it's like, so what do you think about your character doing whatever? And I'm speaking in general terms, but it's like, oh, I don't know until the 5 days before we're shooting and they send me the script or whatever. And it's like, yeah, yeah, So I hope we'll get into some other movies and TV that you might have been seeing
Yeah.
recently. I've seen a few things. I'll ask you right off the bat before we get to
Mhm.
Khan. Can. Uh, did you see Tron Ares?
I've been wanting to see it, and I don't think it's going to be in the theaters much longer because I'm looking at the show times, and it's down to a small theater with just 2 show times. And I'm just thinking,
Yeah,
I just might want to wait for Disney Plus to watch this
yeah,
one
yeah.
because I'm just surprised how it
Well, and
just sank so
well,
quickly.
that's the thing. I heard bad things, and you likely did too. I got to be
Yeah.
honest, man. No, nothing against the guy personally. I'm not a Jared Leto fan, and it's like when he's like the main focus, I'm just like, yeah, all right, great. And also that they're not picking up the story from the second movie.
No.
And that Sam is not in it. His son, Flynn's son, and that Jeff Bridges is also barely in it because the trailer looked cool. I'm sure you felt the same way that we're seeing all the big vehicles and everything in the real world, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, that's kind of intriguing. But yeah, and also as people have pointed out, as the film really plummeted as far as reviews and box office, it's like, hey, didn't Disney learn its lesson? Or actually, it wasn't Disney; it was Sony. The Morbius movie, the vampire movie, and everything. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're like, note to Hollywood: don't put, if you're gonna put Jared Leto in a big movie, make sure you got other big actors with him. So I don't know. I don't know. Here, I'm looking to see if there's a comment here about it. Oh no, just a good evening. Which good to see Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. Carrie appreciates the reviews of things like Star Trek Con. She's like, I don't have to watch it now. She's like, I watch you every week, shaking your fist. So, but let's get into it. Star Trek Con.
Oh.
We're 7 episodes in, and this is, I believe, my first time talking to another Trek Watch host and seeing what
Mhm.
they think of it. So in general, before we get to the specifics of
Yeah.
episode 7, what have you thought of the show so far?
I thought it's an interesting idea because I know that Franco's brought up stuff that if there's some stuff that in the past, then like in the case of Pike, we know what's going to happen to Pike. But with Khan, the only thing that we knew about Khan was he was on a planet, and then in Star Trek 2, he was on that same planet, but some major shit happened, and
Right.
but we don't know what happened in between once he got dropped off and
Right.
when SETI Alpha 6 blew up. I think it's SETI Alpha 6 because they were on SETI Alpha 5.
You got it. You're right.
So it's interesting. And then what's also interesting is they're introducing a new race, an alien race that the Federation has not had contact with. So that's pretty cool. So that you have the first contact protocols that Marla, right? It's Marla?
Right. Marla McIvers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, and that they don't really. Again, Khan's people just don't understand it, and Ivan's such a dick. Like
One of
like
the augments, yes.
yeah, he
The
is.
chief,
Like he
the
killed
chief
the
negative
fact that he
augment.
kills. Okay, the guy that tries to do the coup, then Khan puts him in his place, and that should be the end of it because it's Khan. But Ivan going, no, 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 we can't have loose cannon, and then tosses him off the cliff, and it's just like what? Like, oh, come on! Like that's where I don't know. And that gives you an idea why there was the problem with the augments is maybe their emotions are not kept in check. That because of their extra strength, their extra intelligence ability, that this is why they're dangerous to like anyone else is because a guy like Ivan, if he was in charge, boy, like you could see him wanting to do full nuclear destruction on continents just to make a point,
Absolutely.
as opposed to surgical strikes. Where Khan, I think, is more methodical in his approach to trying to take over stuff, where Ivan is just blunt force trauma. Just go right through. Take that bulldozer and run it right through, because that's the only way. But the whole thing, too, with these new aliens, and if you haven't been listening to Khan, it's, I don't want to spoil it, but
No.
why...
Wayne, hold on. Respectfully, Wayne. This is a spoiler show, and it is the 7th episode. So let us presume that our people are at least in general caught up. But you're talking, and I don't remember their name, but
I think it sounds like Desonite.
A little bit more.
Like the lead alien,
I don't remember.
Is
but regardless, they are a telepath. Hold on, they're a telepathic race that has also telekinetic abilities. That crashed on SETI Alpha 5. They are repairing their ship, but they're making a smaller ship. And at first, Khan believes, then you'll leave. And he's like, no. The leader of the telepaths, they're like, no, the ship is for you. But also, as we learn, there's a room for everybody, and they're going to leave some behind. And we'll get into the details. But yes, so I just wanted to frame as far as these telepaths, and it is a new, like you said, alien race. There's a big reveal at the end of episode 6 and into 7 that the historian who is with Captain Sulu. Let's look at Captain Sulu for a second. There he is. And Ensign Tuvok on the Excelsior. That apparently this historian got the information that Marla MacGyver's diaries survived and are still on SETI Alpha 5, and that's the framing of the whole show. Let's go back to SETI Alpha 5. Let's find out what happened in that 20-year space between Space Seed and Wrath of Khan. And of course, Mr. Sulu, Khan is a tyrant. We don't have to reinvestigate this. And she's like, no, there's some weird inconsistencies that I think need to be explored, which is intriguing. I'm with you and Franco about if we know the destination, what's the point of a prequel? And it's like, well, the story is the journey. It's not, and Dorothy makes it home to Kansas. It's no, what happened on us and everything. It's the journey. So I get that. And I do think they're having an intriguing story, but please continue. Excuse me.
Yeah. And the fact that it was the alien that provided the information to the Federation about all these journals that Marla was maintaining. And it's just, so then you're going, okay, for everything up to 7, we know that the aliens were saying, you know what, you humans, we got to get rid of you. We're going to put you on a ship. It's not going to be enough for everybody, but we're just going to get rid of you. But then at the end, that something happens, and then the aliens going, you know what? Forget it. Let's figure off ourselves.
Or Khan and the augments attack the aliens and wipe them out. We don't know. We don't know. Or something, and something happens to that spaceship, because obviously that isn't the way that they get off SETI Alpha 5. So the one wrinkle that I am really hoping that they will explore in the last 2 episodes, there's only 2 episodes left, 8 and 9. And I want to know, because the historian, when she's talking to Tuvok, is like, all right, first of all, how did the Enterprise, don't you think they probably knew that SETI Alpha 6 was unstable and going to blow up? And Tuvok's like, well, no, it was a natural phenomenon. And, and she's, he's like, Spock did the readings for the planet and stuff, or where to drop them off. So he's like, that man had integrity. He wouldn't do that. But she doesn't trust whatever her opinions, the historian's opinions of Kirk. But also, then she made that really interesting comment several episodes ago that, like, okay, fine. What about when the Reliant with Captain Terrell and Chekhov went to the SETI Alpha system? How did they not realize that one of the planets was missing? And there's kind of a small pause. And she goes, what, did they forget how to count? And it's like, yeah, because they thought they were on SETI Alpha 6.
Yep.
And, of course, the great line of Cranko was here. This is SETI Alpha 5, yeah. And so they weren't purposely going to the Khan planet. They were going to what they thought was a different planet to test the Genesis torpedo on that planet and everything. But yeah, so I'm hoping there's only 2 episodes left. I'm really hoping that Walter Koenig shows up and we get some sort of testimony, because he's the only, not only from a living actor standpoint, but from a surviving character standpoint, where the story is, Captain Terrell's dead. They think Kirk's missing. Spock is doing whatever Spock was doing post Generations and before we saw him again in the Next Generation in the 2-parter. But yeah, it's like, oh no, I think we need, a testimony from Chekhov explaining how they made that mistake. I hope they explore it, because it was a big comment to make. And if they're not going to pick up on that, it just stuck out to me as a story point. I don't know if it did for you.
Oh yeah, no, you knew, right? Like, you're right. They didn't know how to count. And I guess when we saw it when we were more like kids, going, that would have just flown right over us, because we were just going, oh my God, that's Khan. Like we didn't pick it up at that time. Just like, oh my God, Kirk has a son, and it's something that should be so obvious. That you mean he just has one? Like, give me a break. But no, it's just something back then. But now that we're older, we can actually go, huh, you're right. And I wouldn't be surprised, because if there is already establishing that Khan's descendants still lived on Earth, because we have Lon, right?
Right.
Now this is total speculative fiction on my part. Fiction. I have no knowledge. I'm not privy to anything. It wouldn't surprise me that, because of the way writing goes, that she ends up being a descendant of one of the augments, and hopefully not Khan.
Oh yeah,
because we got enough Khans.
Oh, that's interesting, because also they put in episode 7 a few lines about, well, certainly the descendants of the augments have faced discrimination, and a lot of what was explored in Strange New Worlds with Una #1 and her court case. But regardless, we know now, again, that's in the past of the original series. So the question of augments in Starfleet is still an issue by the time of Deep Space Nine with Julian.
But Lon is not an augment, because she's more human. I don't think she has augment genomes. So it could just be, it's just over the generations, it gets weeded out of the gene pool. So it gets watered down over the years.
Possibly, I'm with you. Again, we're just speculating.
Yeah, no. It's just, again, it's just like,
I don't know.
In Strange New Worlds, Lon is a Starfleet officer, and we all know that her background is augments. So obviously, something happened that whatever it is, however the genealogy branches out, her side of the branch doesn't have any augmentations. So the way that
and also
I'm looking at this historian as a person that has a real grudge on to Starfleet, just like in the Strange New Worlds episode. Like, she just wants to find something to show that Kirk did this on purpose. He knew that the planet was going to blow up. This is what Starfleet's all about. It's just like, just feels like this is all she wants.
further, she reveals that the leader of this telepathic race is the one that fed her this initial information to begin with. So that is still a mystery that needs to be uncovered. But regarding La'an, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree that because again, let's stick to the original series timeline, given that that's what the podcast kind of explores more than the retcon of Strange New Worlds, that now all of a sudden, it was 30 years later with World War III, and in the 2000s that Khan was a kid and stuff. I want to stick to the 90s, but regardless, I hear what you're saying, and I agree that La'an likely could join Starfleet because she wasn't genetically enhanced; she was born that way. With whether her branch of the Noonien Singh family was manipulated genetically in some way or not, I assume she was, and especially from the Vulcan episode of Strange New Worlds. But I guess it could also be Vulcan strength. But the way that she was devious, and also when she was really like throwing Spock around before they had their waltz of reason, their dance of death. I assume that was augment blood being energized by the Vulcan injection and everything. I mean, again, Bud, and again, I'm not trying to change your mind about that episode.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I mean, it is that kind of silly non-science fiction explanation of how they became Vulcan. And it's just like, you just complicated things that much more. And also, I assume that she is a security officer because she might just have natural more strength than the average human being. So I don't know.
Well, see, I'm thinking that the reason why I'm thinking that the historian could be an augment is because on the planet, one of them was a half. Because I don't know which parent, whether it was the father or the mother, but the other one was human. So there was an interaction between an augment and a human, because one of the kids, I think it's the artistic one, if I remember correctly, is the one that
dies early.
Yeah. Dies early. That you're not quite like us.
Right. Absolutely. No, he wasn't as strong as the rest. Yeah.
Yeah. Now take that a couple of generations, or even one or two. You can still have
sure.
There's a term in genealogy. Recessive traits. The recessive the augment could become a recessive gene within that particular branch. And I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me she's an augment, or related to to the history of the augments.
Or is she related to the telepath race?
That would really twist it. Or
I don't know.
If she is she is the telepath.
Find out in the next 2 episodes.
Yeah. Because they are bipedal.
Oh,
but I didn't think they looked human. Yeah, I didn't think they looked human. I didn't think they described them as human.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand. Yeah, I'm not sure. Now I have the other thing I have to say, because truly, for the most part, I've enjoyed the acting, but and I love in particular. I mean, I think Naveen Andrews as Khan has just been amazing, and I think it was a great choice, and I think he's very, very good on the show. And 90% of the time, I'm so on Ren Schmidt's side as Marla MacGyver's as well. Except, and it's not her fault, but when they give her the flowery dialogue of, oh, my love, whatever, she just, I'm sorry, I don't know what accent, if it's Texas or wherever she's from, but it's like, oh, my love. Oh, come back to me, my love. And it's like, yeah, it just doesn't sound natural coming from her. And also, I have to admit, I swear, everybody, I mean this, I am very happy that Marla MacGyver's is portrayed with much more agency in this show than she had in the 60s. But again, it was the 60s. So there were either damsels in distress, well, and she was a damsel in distress, and that she fell in love with Khan's magnetism and all that, but he hit her, and he certainly didn't treat her like an equal. Well, now in this show, he's in very early on, before she fully accepts this new relationship. He's like, I'm the leader. I am Khan. And she's like, yeah, and I am Marla. And in fact, this latest episode with her death, spoiler, but of course you likely already saw Star Trek too. It's called I Am Marla. But yeah, I get it. And also that she's human and isn't one of the augments, so she wasn't part of the society. I liked the buildup of her becoming more part of it, and that more of them trusted her as time went on. Yeah, all that makes sense. But yeah, I gotta admit, and especially after she finally committed to Khan and they had the wedding, and a few times when they do get flowery to each other, yeah, I'm sorry. When my love, yeah, great. It's like, okay, maybe
again,
write
like
it more to the actor.
Again, like at the beginning, the other augment said the only reason why you're here is you're like a broodmare for us. That's it.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, and that was interesting. I like that they, the scientists sterilized the augments and everything, and that they couldn't impregnate. And it was cool to have the lesbian couple do the in vitro thing and try and have a kid. And it sucked that they lost the kid. And also, Marla was pregnant as well. And obviously that baby was lost. I like that we met Joaquin's father, and also got to kind of know Joaquin when he was a young man, and that obviously again he's the blonde-haired augment in Wrath of Khan. That but sir, and yours is the superior intellect, that thing. So yeah, it's like okay, and Ivan is in the original series episode. He's one of the first augments that on the Botany Bay when Khan's reviving everybody. I bet he's the one that hit Uhura when they're trying to get Uhura when they're all in the conference room. Yeah. And again, I like the Romanesque attitude of Khan's the leader, but there are people under him that are kind of conniving, and even one of the lesbian couple is like, they're having a conversation, and the other one is like, well, you can't blame Khan for us losing the baby, and it's like, no, actually, I can. Because he was stupid to try and, take over the Enterprise from the start. And we wouldn't be in this situation if he wasn't such a jerk to begin with, my words. But yeah, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. And it's David Mack, the Star Trek novelist, and Kirsten Byers, who's been involved with both novels and has been involved with every new Trek production since Discovery. They took Nick Meyer's original story for this and adapted it into this 9-part audio drama. I think it was only going to be either 3 hours or 3 2-hour episodes originally, because they kept referring to it as a mini series when it was still in the pre-production time when Nick Meyer came back. And also, I don't know if you've seen anything about this, but Meyer supposedly claims that he has been blackballed from Star Trek because I'm sure he had disagreements of how they were going to handle his story.
No, I haven't seen anything like that, but the way they've handled Trek, the new the caretakers of Trek at the moment, it wouldn't shock me, because think of what happened to Terry Matalas. He was ready for Star Trek Legacy. It was ready to go. It was like Picard 3 was like a backdoor pilot for it. A long one, but a backdoor pilot for it that people want. I know Matalas has said it at the Star Trek conventions that I've been to, that, yeah, I'm ready to go. We're ready to do this. And like, even Frakes even joked, yeah, we can even figure out how to get Thomas Riker on the bridge. This is something that the cast, the crew want to do. And again, if it's pettiness, that it comes down to the fact that it wasn't the other two guys on top, who shall not be named, like Voldemort.
Oh no, we'll name him. I'll name him. And okay. Really, it's more Kurtzman than Myers or Akiva Goldsman. But it's, hey man, no, Kurtzman is the guy. Just like Rick Berman was the guy. for better or worse, Kurtzman currently, and we stress currently, is the guy. And Wayne, I'll say it. I think it likely is pettiness. I think because it was the season 3 of Picard united all of us. The new fans of New Trek enjoyed it, and the old farts like me enjoyed it. And we're all like, this is great. It's good enough, if not great. And yes, you've made us intrigued by Star Trek Legacy. Let's see what happens with Geordi's kids and Jack Crusher and Seven of Nine as captain of a new Enterprise. Okay, you've got our attention. Well, guess what, kids? We're giving you Starfleet Academy. And it's more of the Discovery era. You know, that thing that split the audience since day one when they said, hey, it's Spock's sister. And I'm sorry, I get it because they own the ideas of Discovery outright. Not that they wouldn't own Picard a Legacy because it's under their umbrella, but that's the thing. I just really think that it's partially ego because they created Discovery, and they're like, again, and also that mantra that Kurtzman believes in, that traditional Star Trek is boring and dying, or the fans are dying. And to get a new audience, it has to be different, which again is the reason why there were so many gimmicks in Strange New World season 3. So we'll get to Academy, and also the tease scene that we got at New York Comic Con for season 4. So you saw that as well, right, buddy?
Yes. Yeah. Just to follow up on what you're saying about Nicholas Myers, when you think of the first 6 movies. See, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, you got to carve off on its own, because that was just something that was, I would say it's opera. The difference between an opera and a musical. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is an opera. Star Trek 2 to 6 are musicals. Same type of idea. You're providing a story through song, but done in a different way. Because motion picture is very operatic, very Shakespearean. It doesn't really fit in the mold of a Star Trek as like in the series. They were trying to do something different. They used they used ideas like with V'ger and all that, but how they photographed it, how they laid out the story, totally different. 2 to 6 are typical Star Trek movies. Now, the best movies are 2 and 6. At the end of the day, they're both Nicholas Myers, and Nicholas Myers had no clue what Star Trek was. And he came up with this stuff, and that's why the fans gravitated to it. It took it in, not because like, oh, let's rehash, let's bring Khan back, but they brought Khan back with a great story behind it, with the Genesis device. And 6, dealing with the Klingons need help, Kirk saying, let them die. And then going through what they had to go through.
Yeah.
So, and the other ones, again, musicals, opera. And people fondly remember the Nicholas Meyer movies. And again, Kurtzman could just, like you said, jealousy of the fact that, oh my God, we're going to do something with Nicholas Meyer's story. Oh, this would be awesome, because you're going to go, look at what he did in the past. It'd be just like if they brought in, was it Harv Bennett?
Yes, the producer.
Yeah, if they brought him to do something, you go, oh my God, we remember what he did with Star Trek. Wow. Woo. Like, cool.
Well, I think, and I agree with your analogy of opera and musical, but I think the reason why the motion picture is its own animal more is they really fell in love with their special effects. And they really, as we know, because then, 20 years later, they made the director's cut first, the Robert Wise cut. And also, they had to rush it. They committed to an opening day that if they didn't make that opening day in December of 79, the penalties would have almost been as expensive as the budget. And so Paramount didn't want to find themselves in that kind of situation. So they really did slap it together to get it out there. And we just had too many of those panning shots of all these different angles of the Enterprise. And as they penetrated V'ger, all the different layers of V'ger to get to the center and everything. And they just went on too long. And also, yeah, the pace was slow. I was listening to Dana Gould's podcast today, and somebody referred to it as Star Trek: The Slow Motion Picture, and it's like, yeah, that's totally true. But Harv Bennett came in because he was part of the television Paramount division, and he's like, yeah, I saw your budget for the movie that it was $40 million or whatever. He goes, I could make 10 movies for $40 million, because he literally was the $6 million Man and Bionic Woman producer. And again, he knew how to do it. And that's why the Star Trek movies from 2 to 6, they're not expensive to make, but they, again, like you said about 2 and 6 specifically, they're great stories. And that's really what us Trek fans want. We just want a good story. And again, let me give credit to the Kurtzman and Company group. They're great with the production design and the special effects. No, I mean, it's never looked more big budget than what the new Trek is, what we're getting now. That's great. You need a story. You need characters that we give a damn about. And I'm sorry, that's where they stumble and fall. And I think a lot of it is they cater to identity politics too much. I'm not saying that I don't want diversity and equal. I want DEI in my Star Trek. There's always been the attempt at whatever decade represented inclusion and diversity. IDIC is what, Roddenberry's very proud of it, of the IDIC idea. But he was also still casting couch guy. So you could actually have two different thoughts in your head. But yeah, I do. I just think there is this modicum of, well, we didn't make it. And also, like even Metalis with Legacy. Well, that's traditional Star Trek. We need we need to make more. And now I'm literally talking about musicals. We need the musical episode. We need the puppet episode that's coming in season 4. I don't know how many interviews you've seen since season 3, and they did a lot of interviews at New York Comic Con about season 3 and what's coming in season 4. But Henry Alonzo Myers and Akiva Goldsman, who are the showrunners of Strange New Worlds, they're like, this season is going to be a lot more traditional, and and they're like, we're still going to put our own spin on it, but we're getting back to really the central thrust of Star Trek. I don't know if that's a Paramount or Skydance note, or a reaction from the fact that even the fans of Strange New Worlds had issues with season 3. Even their most ardent fans are like, yeah, it wasn't that good. And I am comforted in that, because I mean, I'm cool with my own opinions and everything, but no, really, like they're like, yeah, too many gimmicks. I mean, even the and ironically, some of the episodes I liked, they're like, yeah, that wasn't that great. Like a lot of people didn't like the zombie episode. We briefly mentioned the documentary episode, What is Starfleet, and everything. And hey, man, I'm sorry. It was a good idea to give us an episode like that, but they kind of failed in their execution. And and also the amount of writer turnover on every one of these shows, going back to Discovery, but every season of season 3, a lot of the writers from season or Discovery, a lot of the writers from Strange New Worlds that were there at season 3, they're not back for season 4. And again, I've seen these people being interviewed, and it's like, no, I'm done. That's it. I'm not coming back. And I've also heard behind the scenes that a lot of the writers left on their own choice because they are Star Trek traditionalists, and they kind of fought some of the decisions from up top. And it's like, no, that goes against canon, or no, that's not how they do Star Trek. Well, we're doing Star Trek our way. All right, well, I can't fit in your frame anymore to do Star Trek the way you want to do it. I kind of really signed up to do classic Star Trek. And again, I think you can do it with a modern edge. And I think Khan, 90% of the time, I love the fact that to fight the sandworms that get in your brain, they were talking about how they, were coming up with a way to kill them. And they're like, well, we can get sand and basically turn it into the building blocks of glass and essentially feed it to the worms, and it would rip them apart from the inside. And I'm like, hey, Wow, you're using real science to explain a science fiction problem.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you mean you're not just going to put an injection in their neck and they're suddenly going to become Vulcan? Wow, that takes some real writing. And my assumption is, and the reason why I'm going so long on this is, I think kind of like the animated shows, Kurtzman, Myers, and really it's mostly Kurtzman. I don't think he gives a shit about the podcast. I don't think he gives a shit about the animated shows. And I think that's why the Habermans were able to make such a great show on Prodigy. And so that's what I think. I'm like, no. We're interested in the live action stuff. You do what you want. That's okay. Thoughts on any of that bullshit?
Yeah, it's sort of like it makes sense that the animation was more or less left alone, and be similar to what happened with DS9. They were more or less left alone.
Yep.
When everything was going on, and then that's how you got such a. When you start ranking the series, no offense to TOS, but DS9 at the end of the day, I think has the better storyline from start to finish.
Well, sure.
And again, it's not fair because you're comparing 7 years to 3, but just I think it's more the political intrigue with the different wars, the different races. Again, it's like the comparison is Babylon 5, because there's always that who stole from whom, but it's just there's just something interesting about a stationary, like you're interested in it's Cheers in space with politics. You're stuck in one location. You have your Norm, you have your Cliff. And again, it's just something that was different at the time, because the stories, especially the science fiction stories, I know that really speak to me, have that political element to it, like The Expanse, Galactica, DS9, Babylon 5, because it's not like Buck Rogers, which is the pow pow. Hey, let's go see the aliens, or Flash Gordon or something. But Flash Gordon is special because that movie is just awesome in its own way.
Oh, I see. Okay, then you're saying 80s Flash Gordon. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the 80s Flash. It just the TV stuff, not as good.
Well, it was a kids movie. Flash Gordon was a kids movie.
It was Alex Raymond come to life. It literally just lifted off the pages of Alex Raymond. And
respectfully, other than visuals, I will disagree with you, because there was actually more, I think, politics in the original Alex Raymond strips.
Oh yeah,
and even well, I can't speak to the cliffhangers. I'd really have to go back and rewatch them, because I haven't seen them, I think, since I was a teenager. I'll be honest, the Buster Crabbe movies. But regarding the original series compared to the others, it has to be in its own thing, because 60s television was different. End of story. And that's why it would frustrate me when I would complain that Discovery was the Burnham show, and they're like, well, really the original series is really just the Kirk show. And it's like, yeah, because again, that was the nature of television then. You had your leading man and everybody supporting the leading man. And also from a political standpoint, I really associate Starfleet and the Federation more with the Peace Corps of the early 60s, and that idea of we are going to less developed countries, and we are presenting what we can give them if they allow themselves to be aligned with us, the American way. And we will give you clean water, and we will show you how to improve your environment with the modern things that we have learned. And so I think you could make that analogy with Starfleet and its attempt to get new planets to join the Federation. And you're absolutely right. Also, I like the Cheers analogy. They always said, just like original series was Wagon Train to the Stars, that a Western analogy to Deep Space Nine was the Rifleman, that it all happened in one city, and that Cisco was kind of like the Marshal and everything, even though we had Odo as the
Gunsmoke, yeah, or Bonanza. Everyone's on the wrench.
Yeah. And also, we still got a lot of interplanetary politics, obviously. That's why we haven't talked about Star Trek Archer that they're kind of proposing with Scott Bakula coming back as the president of the Federation. Have you read about those?
No, I haven't
features?
read it about that. I know that when Bakula was in Vegas, he hinted that, yeah, I'm going to be back here next year. So obviously if he's coming back for the 60th anniversary, I think that's when they might do like the full announcement for it.
Well, we got to see. I mean, it's Wayne, honestly, this whole period to me of potential transition is fascinating to me because Skydance has not officially said, all right, Secret Hideout's out. Thanks for 10 years. Now get the fuck off stage because we got to move on to different ideas. Mike Sussman, who was an Enterprise writer, is the one who, in talking to Bakula, devised this idea of what if we were to do a show where it's 20 years after Enterprise and now Captain Archer, because in A Mirror Darkly, the Mirror two-parter that they did on Enterprise, Mirror Archer reads about Prime Universe Archer and discovers that he becomes the president of the Federation in the future because he reads that in the Constitution class Defiant from the Tholian Web, which obviously is from the future of Enterprise. So he reads about his counterpart and, I'm going to be president. So anyway, Mike Sussman is like, we could do a West Wing Star Trek show and have it be much more of a political show and really have Archer in these early days of the Federation dealing with interplanetary issues. And he's like, there'll still be some spaceship stuff here and there, but really it's more about the interplanetary politics of that era rather than just a ship out exploring. I am so for it. I love Scott Bakula regardless, and at pretty much everything he does. But also, I think there's great story potential there. And further, given that Enterprise only had 4 seasons, it's a great opportunity to bring people back. And that's another thing that kind of drives me nuts about the Starfleet Academy direction. But it's like, hey, we're bringing back Tilly, and we're bringing back Jet, whatever her name was, Tig Notaro's
Reno. Jet Reno.
Jet Reno, thank you. Janet Reno. But anyway, it's like, well, that would be great if it was like 10 years later. But it's like, isn't it great we're bringing them back? And my answer is no, because you just said goodbye to them not that long ago, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think more so having Sulu and Tuvok back in Khan and the potential of, as Frakes said, and Metalis about legacy, it's like, get these people while they're still capable of coming back and being functional. I love Patrick Stewart, but as we know, in that first season of Star Trek Picard, a flight of steps was his biggest conflict. He's an old man, and they got him running upstairs. And I think I knew there was a body double for the long stretch of stairs, but it's like, God, even in the second season, it's like, you're making this poor old man run around way too much, man. It's like,
elder abuse.
Yeah, and again, I mean, that's the thing, as we know, and you know better than me because you've had more time with them. But like Nana Visitor, still very physically capable. Terry Farrell, I mean, all right, Dax is dead. Fine, Nicole DeBear. I mean, all these people, it's like, no, they're still in their 60s. They're still young enough. And I would love, like, especially for a Star Trek Archer show, the one crew member, I think Travis Mayweather was the least explored of those characters. And I'm like, hey, let Anthony Montgomery come back and be, if not a regular cast member or a recurring character, because truly, other than, Trip and Malcolm and T'Pol, they all got their moments. And I'd love to see them come back in a show like this. And Phlox, obviously, it'd be great to see Phlox, but it's like, yeah, give Travis more time, airtime, and everything, because the guy deserved it. He was a good actor, and I think an interesting character.
If I'm not mistaken, Trip can't come back.
Well, that's right, unless they follow the book
hologram Trip.
Well, that's true, but like they could do the book continuity and go, actually, Trip faked his death. And also, I love the people that were so mad at that final Voyager episode, where it really was the Riker Troy show, that it's like, that's Riker's perception. It doesn't necessarily have to be historically accurate that Trip died there and everything. And it's like, okay, whatever makes you happy. I mean, it is what it is. And man, they're still getting hammered, Brock and Rick Berman, about that. They were just on the Decon show with Trip and Malcolm, and they I haven't watched that part of the episode yet, but they went back to that episode, and again, I understand where they were coming from. Of, hey, we're trying to say goodbye to the whole franchise because we were closing up shop. But yeah, I mean, Enterprise fans are like, no, we didn't get a good final episode. That two-parter with Peter Weller, they consider the last real Enterprise episodes and everything. But the idea of Star Trek Archer, I think it's fantastic, and I would like to see it happen personally.
Yeah, no, it'd be something interesting, and Bakula's definitely into it. Like, he's embracing his Trek.
Yeah,
because
I'm for it.
I think it was 10 years difference between 10 or maybe 8 years. The last time he was in Vegas could have been like 8 years ago, and for him, like he's like one of those guys that I don't really need to come out for it.
Yeah. He was,
and we might get Jolene. Oh my God, we could get Jolene.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Where's T'Pol? Yeah. Where's T'Pol in their future? And again, it's far enough in the past and it's unexplored Trek history. I realize, and we'll get to Academy because I've got a lot of thoughts about Academy. I'm sure you do as well. Well, it is what it is. But if you are going to go in the past, we still haven't really gotten those early Federation years. And, there's potential for story conflict. And I'm sure everything will not be peaches and cream when the Andorians and the Vulcans have to sit down on equal footing. And I'm sure there's still built-in resentment from the Enterprise years, things like that. And again, all those characters. But yeah, get these people while they still can. That's why I love the COD podcast so much. Because Zulu's 90 or 91 or whatever Takei really is, but he sounds fine. I understand he sounds a little old, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I mean, goddamn, Tim Russ sounds like he just stepped off the Voyager. He still sounds great. And it's like, again, do more of these. And I realize that it doesn't have the shine that a feature film or a live action TV series would, but it's like, I think we'd all eat it up. And it's interesting. There's a Comicsgate guy that does weekly reviews, and he's like, well, the numbers on YouTube and Spotify doesn't release their numbers, but on YouTube they're only getting like 10,000 views. And it's like, Star Trek Con is on every audio podcast platform. They're not stupid. They didn't just put it at those two places. He's like, well, there's only about 8,000 or 9,000 people listening per episode. And it's like, no, I don't think they have millions. I bet they have hundreds of thousands if you aggregate all their numbers together. Or if not, maybe a significant five-figure number. And further, if it was, hey, we're going to do Star Trek Kira, and you're going to hear about what happened to her after Deep Space Nine, I bet a lot of people would listen. And because
I'm listening to it on Apple.
They all do voice acting. Hold on.
Sorry.
They also do voice acting for games and animation. And they've already done it for Lower Decks, for one episode of Lower Decks. I think they'd all be down for it if the project was right. Go ahead. What were you going to say? Excuse me.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I listened to it on Apple. So it's on all, like you said, it's on all the different platforms. So you can't just say.
I don't think they advertised it. I don't think they advertised it properly either, because they were saying they were really focused on Spotify and YouTube. And it's like, there are other platforms of podcasting and stuff, and I'm sure they put it everywhere. I was worried it was going to be a paid thing. I'm glad that it's free. So, but all right, well, let's get to first, let's do season 4, Strange New Worlds. That scene, it's fine. It's okay. They're exploring a phenomenon. They go through a wormhole or whatever, and now they lost power, and so now they got to take a shuttle to a strange new world. Gee, what a novel idea. Given that's been the title for now 4 goddamn seasons. It's about time we get to some more strange new worlds. What did you think of the season?
I was thinking there's the buoy, the distress buoy. It's a Federation distress buoy. I'm wondering if this is one of those timey-wimey episodes dealing with the Enterprise. I don't know why I went timey-wimey when I watched it. I'm going, it's a Federation distress buoy. They get caught in this thing. It's a time warp or wormhole or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, and I thought, if I'm not mistaken, I should have paid more attention whether or not they themselves released a distress buoy when they went through it.
I don't think they did.
Okay.
I think that'd be too on the nose if they did.
I'd be just
if it does go that way, I could certainly see it ultimately being, oh my God, we heard our own buoy. So that is possible. It's fine. I just the two things that I found interesting were, unlike the 4.5 Vulcans clip that they showed last year at San Diego, that it was a more traditional exploring strange new worlds scene. And yeah, also, by the way, they're way too much in love with the twisty camera shot that does the 360, and we're like on a roller coaster. And really, every new Trek show has used that effect in one time or another. And it's like, yeah, we get it. Usually when you have that kind of smoke and mirrors, you are covering the fact that you don't have an interesting story. I point to Section 31 and that ridiculous platform fight scene that went on way too long and with really very basic fight moves. And I get it that Michelle Yeoh certainly is a combat sports specialist, so it's good to show her strengths. But I also think, you're doing that because you've run out of money. And the amount of, and forgive my tangent on hammering Section 31 for the 1,000th time, but the amount of it has to be 90 minutes, no longer, no less. It's like, why are you putting all these parameters on essentially a streaming movie? It's not like it's going to run on CBS. Maybe they wanted it to run on CBS. Maybe that's why it had to be a certain length. But also, just this, they were just real knuckleheads when it came to making that movie. They crammed a season of TV into 90 minutes. And in doing so, they made a pile as far as I'm concerned. You liked it more than I did.
Oh, yeah. I just thought it was goofy.
Well, okay. And I respect that. That's it. Wayne, forgive me, because really, this isn't a cross-examination. Or when I ask the others when they show up, this kind of question. Have there been any episodes of New Trek that you've watched more than once, and not for the purposes of this podcast, but just from an enjoyment standpoint?
Not really. And the reason is there's way too much other stuff to watch right now. I think it isn't like it was when we were younger.
Yeah.
Where you didn't have as much out there because I don't know.
There's more choices.
I think some of the episodes are rewatchable, definitely, and some of the seasons can be rewatchable. It's just
can you think of an episode you want to watch?
First season of Strange New Worlds, definitely you could rewatch.
The whole season?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I could.
Again, no right or wrong answer. Just curious.
No. It's just I recently just binged the 5 seasons of Slow Horses. So, and from the tangent, after watching the Gary Oldman's amazing performance, I then went to watch Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, the movie. And then after Tinker Soldier Spy, the movie, I went back to watch the 2 Guinnesses PBS miniseries. It's just I find my viewing habits are more, I see something, it leads me down to a different path. The fact that I said, I'm going to start watching Slow Horses, and it led me to watch a movie and then two other series. And I watched the 2 other series when I was a kid on PBS because they were amazing with Alec Guinness. And then it's just Gary Oldman's character in Slow Horses is this is George Smiley if he was like really bitter and just doesn't give a blank about life or anything, as opposed to his character, as opposed to George Smiley in the John le Carre novels. So
Yeah,
it's just, I think the problem with the rewatchability of stuff deals more with there is too much content right now to
I agree.
filter through.
I respect that.
And right now, oh, sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
And like right now,
what?
for me, hockey season started.
Sure.
So not to put a point on it, but my team's doing really good this year.
Oh,
and
that's
hopefully
great, man.
they can.
Ottawa?
Hopefully they don't get the November hiccups like they normally do. But hockey season started for me, and that's going to take a lot of my viewing because there's 82 games between now and a little bit into April. So
you bet. Yeah.
So
no, I respect that.
Yeah, and
I agree
hockey,
with you. There is too much. In fact, I am so behind. And when we talk about other shows, I will go through my list. I'm behind on Tulsa King. I'm behind on Gen V. Even though I could binge The Diplomat, I'm only 3 or 4 episodes into The Diplomat. They're all amazing shows. So I hear you and I agree with that. But again, I can count on one hand the amount of Strange New Worlds episodes I like to explore again. And the only reason why I recently rewatched the Discovery episode where they go back to Talos 4 was there was some plot point that I wanted to look at again. But all right, let's get back to like what to expect in season 4. I think much like the Vulcan episode, we shouldn't assume this is even the opening for even the first episode. It may be a random episode because in the case of 4.5 Vulcans, I think it was the 7th or 8th episode of season 3, and that's the first thing we saw. So it'll be interesting. I'm not sure. And as much as Goldsman and Myers are saying, "Oh no, we're going to be much more traditional in season 4," that puppet episode is still hanging out there, and I don't know what other gimmicks they have planned. Yeah, for better or for worse, we'll see. Hey, listen. The Angel puppet episode was brilliant, but it was Ben Edlund writing it, and he's one of the best writers of our generation. So whether it's Supernatural or The Tick, his comics, his TV. So Ben Edlund is the reason why Smile Time, that Angel episode, is as great as it is. And again, not to I am hammering, but again, the Buffy episode was a superior musical episode. The Flash Supergirl crossover musical episode was not. And I would sadly say, and I know you liked the Strange New Worlds musical. I didn't, and it's okay. That's fine. And I know people liked it. I don't know if we're going to have sing-alongs the way we did for Buffy all these years. But that's me. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it looked fine. I'm sorry. I think they haven't earned my trust. Again, I'm still gonna, as I've said a million times, if they had a show called Star Trek Klingon Toilet Cleaning, I would be watching. It's the truth. So I will watch anything that says Star Trek, for better or worse.
Oh no, I agree. It actually lived up to its title, Strange New Worlds, by actually exploring something that they're documenting. And we have a new Vulcan character on board, it seems, that was behind Uhura.
Thank you. Yes. And that'll be interesting to see what they do with her. Because again, and this is okay, but I'm sorry, I'm a canon asshole. I'll admit it. Spock was the only cadet the only Vulcan in Starfleet for a very long time. So at least as far as the original series goes. Again, I have no problem with that. And we've also already seen on the Farragut, Kirk's ship, the Vulcan captain. So they've already bent that canon a bit. And again, all right, no problem. And let's see what they do with it. I love whatever her name was on Lower Decks, Taval, I think.
Yeah.
She was great. She was a fun addition. Yeah. So let's.
Oh,
We'll
and
see.
she is funny and an amazing voice in person.
Who is
Amazing
that?
singing voice. Gabrielle Reyes,
Okay.
where she wrote in my book. I can't say it. It
Oh.
is too something.
Yeah, I can't.
Stay Vulcan like a blank.
All right.
And it
All
was,
right.
I just laughed when she wrote it.
That's
She's just
funny.
going, yeah.
That's great. That's great. All right. Starfleet Academy, my man. What'd you think of the trailer?
Wow. Okay.
Right.
This is Dawson Creek in space.
Yes,
There you
sir.
go. Done. Done. Dawson Creek.
Well, I'm curious, and I'm sorry that you weren't at that display at New York.
Mhm.
I didn't pay attention. And everybody listen, I'm saying this for the video and the audio audience. I don't know what to expect. We'll see what happens. But the Klingon that is apparently like wants to get into medicine or science, he's in a dress. And we had in the Next Generation encounter at Farpoint, we had Starfleet officers basically men wearing dresses. And also, it is 700, 900 years, 800 years in the future. And also, I'm not saying that gay people cannot be warriors, because of course they can. Of course they can. I don't know. I haven't seen, and I loved, by the way, in the Orville, Bortus having a same-sex marriage and a same-sex race. That was fantastic. That was really interesting. So, again, who's to say in 800 years that there are more, or even that there were in the original series there, we just never saw same-sex Klingons hanging out or whatever. Okay. All right, whatever. But I do just kind of think it's kind of too obvious and on the nose that they put a Klingon in essentially a dress. And it's just like, all right, whatever. But more importantly, there's Sam, the the hologram or artificial intelligence, however they are designating Sam, this character. I much in the same way that, and now we're back in sexual orientation, much in the same way I rolled my eyes at Discovery and making such a big, oh my God, I want to be called they. I hope that's not a problem. Oh, big tense moment. And of course, Anthony Rapp's like, yeah, all right, whatever. But again, they had to have that pregnant pause and everything. And it's like, if we're 800 years in the future, and also we already saw it in the Voyager finale when it was in the, like 20 years later or whatever with Admiral Janeway. But that the Doctor was married to a flesh and blood woman. And I love that, by the way, that his name was Joe. Oh, Joe's great. Joe, that's your name? Yes, I decided to call myself Joe. It's like, all right, whatever. But it's like, I hope there is some sort of explanation. And further, the fact that the holograms in that great episode where the Doctor writes his novel and the publisher releases the novel without his permission, and they have basically another Measure of a Man court case of does a hologram deserve to have rights? Now, he loses his case as opposed to Data. And in fact, we see that in that planet where they're mining, they've got hologram EMHs basically that all look like the Doctor mining that planet. So they are subjugated. And again, I realize this is hundreds of years in the future, but I do hope there is some sort of explanation of where holograms were, where they are now. But in the trailer, Sam is like, I don't know, sometimes I just don't feel like I fit in. I'm sorry. Bullshit. I'm sorry. We've had EMHs now given with the Doctor that have become more self-aware for 800 years. I don't buy that even if she's a brand new AI, that they are not created to already acclimate to human contact. And I know it looks funny and tee-hee. And again, it's another wrinkle of this Dawson Creek mentality of students. And I don't know if I fit in. Oh, I don't know if I fit in, whatever. But again, I'm just like, you really, you got to try harder beyond giving us Gossip Girl, Star Trek Gossip Girl.
Oh, no, you're right. The trailer just, Gossip Girl, Dawson Creek. Riverdale. It
Yes,
is literally,
Riverdale. Yes.
It is every CW show just
Every
in
teen
the
drama.
future. Yeah.
Well,
I'm waiting for the next
co-showrunner,
Paula Cole song for it.
I don't want to wait. I love that song. I just love doing that high pitched voice. I don't want to wait. The co-showrunner came from the Nancy Drew CW show.
Okay.
And it's like, of course she did.
Nancy Drew.
And again, no disrespect to the writer. Hey,
No.
maybe she is a lifelong science fiction, and this is my opportunity fan, and she'll be able to get to do and really surprise the shit out of us with some real hardcore science fiction. And also, I love Holly Hunter. I love Paul Giamatti. And I'm thrilled that they're, and I love Robert Picardo. So I'm glad all the veteran actors are the people they are. I think that's going to be great. But I got to be honest. It's funny. I was talking to Franco 2 nights ago, and I'll let Franco talk about it when he finally comes back. But it's like, what, he's like, I don't know. I might like this show. And I was like, great, whatever. But yeah, I don't know, Wayne. I'm glad I'm not alone, at least right now, as far as our show.
Again,
it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. And also, I'm glad they have a ship.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. It's funny that, but like I said, Holly Hunter spinning in a chair going wee. The story I'm really interested in is, why would you bring a convicted criminal down to whatever that other Jacob? Is it Jacob? Caleb. I think it's Caleb.
Caleb is the kid whose mommy gets stolen from him by,
like, why would you bring
Paul
a
Giamatti.
convicted killer or whatever Paul Giamatti's character is to do the actual, like, taking the mom away? It makes no sense to me. Like, again, it's without seeing the full episode, it's hard to understand the clip. It makes it interesting. The other thing that's interesting too is it's almost like the transporter can do haircuts, because the way the way that they cut the trailer, he literally goes like this. He has the long shaggy hair, and then he has the short, like, I'm in the Navy haircut all of a sudden. And it's like, when did the transporter do haircuts and change your clothes? It's almost like going down the bat pole. You hit the switch, and then Bruce and Dick, they're in their normal civilian clothes, and then when they get to the bottom, they're Batman and Robin. And then when they go up, you have to flip the switch the other way to get back into their civilian clothes. And and now they have transporter technology that can do this. Those are amazing filters. If they can give you a haircut, man, that's.
And change your clothes. I think
it's the way the episode is cut. The way the trailer is cut, I think it just gives you the impression, because I am going to lose it laughing if the fact is he's in his grungy 80s grunge look, and all of a sudden he's in a Starfleet cadet uniform with a haircut. I will make sure I do not have any liquids going down my throat at that particular moment, because my TV is just going to be sprayed from laughter.
That means the Bolians are no longer barbers in Starfleet, apparently. So thank you, technology, for taking away another job from hardworking Bolians. So, like Mr. Mott. Mr. Mott would not make it in the future, apparently. I hear you, man, and I agree with that. Also, of course, it's one of the guys that is so like, I got to be the best. I got to do whatever. Yeah, although the woman is, I need to be captain or whatever. So there is a woman that also is very much needs to be the best. So that's going to be potentially, I guess, interesting. I'm mentioning Paul Giamatti, and I hear you and agree. I got to quote Rob Burnett, because he's right. It's like, there doesn't need to be a big bad for this series. You know what the big bad is? Flunking out of Starfleet Academy. That should be the big fear. You don't need, but again, these people are idiots, and they don't know how to combine genres. It's honestly, dude, as you know from us reading comics for the last 25 years, genre splicing, I think, is brilliant, whether it happens in comics, TV, or film. I am absolutely down for that, and I respect the hell out of when it's done well. They don't know how to do it well. They can't even stick to one thing like Star Trek and do it well. So, and again, I am hoping that the rumors I'm hearing, because I'm hearing Skydance is not impressed with Starfleet Academy. And also, when I wonder, so we've got 10 episodes of season 4 for Strange New Worlds and another 6 to close out 5. And they were shooting 5 as of the New York Comic Con. At least that's what they were saying.
Yep. Yeah, no, yeah, because
in their
Anson
interviews
just posted
at New York Comic Con that there was the filming of season 5. Oh, sorry. But I was going to say I don't know if this part came out. So 10 episodes of season 4, 6 episodes of season 5. I wonder, especially given that next year's the 60th anniversary and that Secret Hideout's future with Skydance running Paramount is not secure. I wonder if they're going to blow out all 16 episodes next year. To basically, because otherwise that means that it may be many years between whatever Secret Hideout is making and by the time we get to whatever new producers are put in charge of Star Trek. And I think that's at least a 2-year proposition to have to start from square one again. But I also hope that, especially if it's crap, that we only get one season of Starfleet Academy, even though right now they're like, oh, no, they've already been, approved for season 2. We've already seen it with Dexter and those Dexter spinoffs on Showtime where Paramount's like, oh, yeah, we're going to do more seasons. And then it's like, yeah, no, we're not, because the ratings weren't there and they didn't like what they made. And the bosses didn't like what they made. And they're like, no, you're done. And like I said, what I am hearing is that and again, they spend all this money. Oh, my God, the Starfleet Academy sets, they're the most expensive sets we've ever had. It's like, could you spend some money on good writing? Can you spend some money on that in that direction, please? No, of course not. And they spend money, as I've said a million times, like drunken sailors. They are just on a bender, and the wallet is way open. And again, I just think it's not necessary. I hope that Paramount is able to keep the sets of the ships that they've already built. I don't know if Secret Hideout owns those outright, or if Paramount owns them outright. Because I would feel bad if they have to start from scratch again and build new sets and stuff. Because there's nothing wrong with those sets. I mean, they literally, as you know, the Strange New World sets were being used for Picard season 3, and all they did was just do a little bit of tweaking here and there with lighting and little doodads and things like that. And it's like, no, that's smart, because you got to amortize. You got to make this budget stretch. And I imagine they might have been the same sets from Discovery era as well. And it's like, no, that's why, they'd be like, well, we need 100 episodes, not only for syndication, but essentially to pay off all the money we spent building sets and the various, standing things that we were going to use time and time again, or even down to the uniforms. As you know, I want to make sure I'm getting the right movie. I think it was, I can't remember if it started with Insurrection or the last Next Gen movie. Was it Nemesis? Nemesis was the last movie. But they were wearing Deep Space Nine uniforms. And I remember hearing cast members say, I don't remember, I think it might have been Riker was saying, yeah, I'm wearing Ben Sisko's uniform or whoever it was from Deep Space Nine because it fit. And it's like, yeah, don't, I mean, goddamn, every year of Discovery, they had a new fucking uniform. And it's like, well, that's a waste of money. What are you doing? Jesus.
And putting the Delta onto the shoes, yeah, like the soles of the shoes too. It's just like
the gold, the stripes on like an admiral's hat. Yeah, that they were on the shoes. It's like, yeah, you know what the original series had? Black boots, because they were cheap and they were easy, and nobody gave a fuck what was on you. You could have fucking high tops on, for God's sake. Ugh, idiots. So yeah. So anyway, all right. Other things. All right. Like I said, I'm loving Tulsa King, but I'm a little behind. I don't know if you're watching Tulsa King.
No,
Great show.
again, it's just more. There's, like I said, there's too much stuff, and I'm just focusing on stuff that really. I'm slightly behind on Gen V. Invasion just finished.
Yes,
which was pretty cool.
Was that Alien Earth, or
yeah. No, Alien Earth is Invasion is also another Apple TV show. It dealt with aliens invading the Earth. Another 10-parter. It just finished today for its third or fourth season. So it's pretty cool.
I've never watched it. Trying to think of what else, because we can wrap up. We're like I said,
Nautilus was good.
What's that?
Nautilus was good.
Nautilus was very good. I like Nautilus a lot. Wayne, did you watch Marvel Zombies? I still haven't watched it.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I did.
And
it's I watched Marvel Zombies and then Eyes of Wakanda. So I think it's Eyes of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Eyes of Wakanda is just basically looking at the past of the Wakandans and their interactions with the world. Marvel Zombies is it's funny. It was interesting. I thought it was really interesting. I told my nephew, don't let my great nephews watch it because there's some nasty zombie stuff going on. But it was an interesting zombie story. I think people I don't understand why people get all bent out of shape if the protagonist is a woman. Like, so what? Like, it's Miss Marvel. Ms. Marvel. Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan. Yeah, and I'm just going, like, fuck, just, geez, let it go. It's just a character, and it's not even a real character. So it's just, I don't know. It was an interesting story dealing with how do you stop the zombie horde?
Sure. Okay.
And with the survivors. So
sure.
I don't know.
All right, I might check it out. We'll see. My buddy Whitey really liked it.
It won't take you long, John. They are short episodes. I think they're like 24 minutes.
How long?
I think 24 minutes.
Yeah, I figured half hour. It's like What If. I assumed it was like What If.
Oh, yeah. No, these are quick. You can easily binge the whole series fast.
Okay. What was I going to say? What'd you think of Peacemaker and how it wrapped up?
Oh, jeez. I loved it, but I thought it just ended really flat. I don't know why. It was such a buildup towards the whole Earth X thing, and it just went poof. Like I don't know. It made you. I don't know. I don't know how you could have ended it. I honestly don't know how you could have ended it to make it actually interesting.
I was hoping we were going to see those Sons of Liberty resistance movement that Earth X Vigilante was part of. Yeah. And that might have been an opportunity to introduce more heroes, DC heroes in general. Mm-hmm. And I was okay with it regardless. And I even didn't mind that it ended with Peacemaker in Sanctuary or whatever, because it is, although I usually hate this, that, oh, don't worry, we're going to explain what it is in future DC television shows and movies. I have a feeling we're going to see it in Lanterns, the HBO series, and we'll likely see it definitely in the Superman movie coming up, but maybe even in the Supergirl movie. We'll see. Mm-hmm. So I look, because my fear, even with the Superman movie itself, the first movie, the new one, was, are we going to have to wait 5 years for Superman 2? I really hope not, because that just seems to be the modern gestation period between movies. I mean, look at 2009 JJ Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Then it was like 2011, and then like 2013 or 14. Maybe was it 16? I forget the year that the Beyond, Star Trek Beyond was. Might have been 16. No, it wasn't. I was still working at the rock station I worked at. So it was before that. Maybe it was 2015.
Okay.
I don't know. Regardless, it was several years in between movies. By the way, I'm sorry. Pipe dream for Zachary Quinto and various other JJ Star Trek cast members that are like, yeah, I don't know. Well, we'd love to do 4. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure you would. But like I said, Secret Hideout's out the door. I mean, I know that's different. Technically, it's slightly different than JJ's company, but I don't think the new owners are. Although they did co-produce. Skydance did co-produce those movies. I don't know. I'm not sure. And I think you guys were on. I talked to Fraction, and he knows the new creative director in charge of Skydance Paramount. And he's like, oh, no, I know this guy, and he loves Star Trek, and he's waited his whole life to get the opportunity to call shots for Star Trek. And the other thing I'm hearing, too, regarding potentially if Secret Hideout were to continue to make Star Trek, that it would be an entirely new deal, and they would have much more editorial control above them than the Les Moonves deal that kept getting renewed. And here's a pile of money. You make what you want and everything, which I think they need, again, because they just took too much Star Trek out of the current Star Trek. And I'm sorry, I disagree with that idea of, yeah, it's old hat. Young people don't want traditional Star Trek. Sure they do. They'd be happy with it if it's written well. We're not getting that. So anyway.
Oh, you won't get it.
We can wrap. Well, again, that's my what's that?
I'm trying to think what else I've been watching.
Say it again?
Sorry, I've just been trying to think what else I've been watching. Peacemaker.
Sure.
The Walking Dead is interesting.
Daryl's latest excursion into Spain with Carol.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to the next volume for Anne Rice, dealing with the organization that watches the supernatural creatures. That's going to be coming out shortly.
Okay. An old show that I didn't watch when it was out, but it's on Amazon Prime now. It's from 2017. It's an alternate history, kind of like Man in the High Castle, but different. It was called SSGB. And it was, what if the Nazis won the Battle of Britain in 1940 and took over England? And so the British are subjugated now to the Germans.
Okay.
And it also reminds me of that 80s book and HBO TV movie called Fatherland with Rutger Hauer.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of that, where but in this case, it is a former British cop that now has to answer to the Germans, and he discovers a conspiracy. And it's only 6 or 8 episodes long. Kate Beckinsale is in it as an American actress that's visiting England while this is going on. And it's set like a year before, or no, it's like 8 months before Pearl Harbor. So we're still not in the war. We're still, the Americans are still not.
Oh, you guys aren't. We are already there.
You guys are there. Yes. Sorry.
We're there.
Sorry.
Because we're a Commonwealth.
Right. Oh, absolutely, man.
We supported our British cousins.
Well, I didn't know Lois I knew Lois Maxwell was Canadian, but I know she served in the war. Moneypenny, which is awesome. So yeah, no, that's
great
cool.
Spy Master came from Canada.
Who did?
There was a great Spy Master that came from Canada.
Oh, really?
That helped with the spies. Oh, I forget his name.
Well, another great Canadian hero of World War II was James Doohan, of course, who lost the finger in action.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. Well, honestly, Wayne, I really want to are they going to age Scotty so that he's age appropriate by the time they get to handing off to Kirk? Of course not. They're not. I know. But that's still, and I like that kid. I really like that kid a lot. He's fun. And also in that terrible hologram episode, I loved his solution of how to get word to La'an, where he put himself in the movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, that's that one little sliver of that episode, that was clever. The rest was crap, but that was clever. But yeah, whatever it is. And that's why, again, to be a fly on the wall and hear the new owners just be like, yeah, I'm sorry. It just seems like you kind of lost faith in what Star Trek is while you've been making this new stuff. We still believe in Star Trek. Bye. Thanks for 10 years. There's the door. Don't let it hit you in the ass as you're exiting to your shuttle that will take you off planet, and we'll never speak of you again.
Take
but
your
we'll see what
teen
happens,
angst and get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Exactly. All right, my man.
Right.
We will try and convene in November.
Yeah.
With the rest of our landing party and see what we can do.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I was just thinking because I think November 7th is the last episode, isn't it?
Oh, and you were saying that you're reading the Greg Cox,
Oh, yes. What I because I was listening to Khan, I noticed on because I have premium Spotify. Oh, sorry. I have premium Spotify, and I noticed that there was a book dealing with the eugenics war, so I started listening to that. So I'm in chapter 1, and it has Gary Seven and Roberta in it, and ISIS. So it's an interesting story dealing with the birth of the eugenics and sort of like what caused the war. So it's an interesting listen, and it's narrated by Anthony Hurd, who's Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So it's really interesting.
Yep.
If you have a chance, if you're walking around, you're doing stuff, and you have Spotify Premium, I guess, check out the Eugenics War. I don't know how many chapters. I'm only on chapter 1. Chapter 1's about 2.5 hours. So I think it's just going to be a couple of chapters because a book can't be more than 18 hours, probably.
Well,
I
don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember how long the narration is. It's 3 novels.
Yeah.
That Greg Cox wrote. And I had Greg Cox on Word Balloon to talk about it. And I read them all. They're great. Yeah. And I'm interested. I haven't read it yet, but there is a Star Trek Enterprise novel out there with Archer as president of the Federation.
Oh, cool.
So I am curious to read that. So that's cool. But yeah, we'll see. But no, yeah, you're right. We got, and that's why I was going to say, I was figuring on waiting till the season's over, and also giving.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mitch is going to join us or not on Con. He seems to still be interested in Star Trek. But whatever he wants to do is fine. Franco is just because of traveling and personal things is way behind.
Yeah, like you said, if we're doing this November 7th, if you see this glowing green haze around me, is because I would have had my nuclear bone scan done that day. So I will be officially on the no flight list because or the flight watch list or something, because I'm sure I will set off every sensor in the world if I went to an airport.
I'm counting on you getting superpowers, Wayne. That's what I'm counting.
Geez. I'm hoping, because I've had enough radiation and gut going through me by now. I haven't gotten a single thing except everything shrinking.
Oh dear. I was going to do the exact. Oh my, exactly. Yeah. It's not Franco met Sulu at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, because he had the IDW signing.
It was right by Mad Cave, apparently.
Silly story. So I'm walking on the show floor, and Ronda Rousey has her own little graphic novel with Mike Deodato Jr. did the art.
Good for Mike.
So I'm going, cool art. I didn't support it on Kickstarter. It's a paperback. I wasn't interested in supporting a paper. I don't know. I'm a snob. I love hardcovers. It's just a snob in me. Paperbacks are good when you're on a bus.
I'm with you.
When I was
they're disposable. They were.
Commuting.
That's why the format was created for them to be disposable. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read a lot of stuff commuting to work with a paperback. And so I noticed people were lining up for Ronda Rousey, and I missed her the one day. And then the last day I was going to be at the con, I walked the show floor saying my goodbyes, and I was going to the AWA booth. Yeah, it was the AWA. And I noticed a line, and I said, oh, cool. And what's this for? Oh, yeah, Rhonda's just going to show up shortly. I'm going, sweet. So I got into the line, and I got my book signed by Ronda Rousey.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool.
I'm a
Like
fan.
she's like my height, so but she can probably kick my ass because
Probably.
I said, yeah, I'm kind of sore in my back and all that. And she says, yeah, tell me about it. My back is just as bad as yours. I'm going, oh, I'm sure. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, no, she was pretty neat to talk to.
That's
But
great.
yeah, no, it's just walking on the floor. Hey, there's Ronda Rousey.
It hasn't
her
been
book.
set up yet, but they told me at Z2, they reached out to me. They're doing, I think it's Z2 that does some of the biographical graphic
Okay.
novels and stuff. They have a Blues Brothers graphic novel that I'll probably set up an interview, but also David Damalchin, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
He's got a new horror graphic novel through them. And they're like, do
Count
you want to
Crowley,
interview him?
isn't
I'm
it?
like, absolutely.
Because he did Count Crowley for Dark Horse.
Yep. But he's got a new one, and it's with Z2 or whatever.
Okay.
And yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, I got buddies that just got new gigs over there, and they reached out to me, and they're like, hey, you want to talk to him? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. Well, Polka Dot Man talk, why not?
Yeah.
The Devil, what was the name of that? The talk show,
Late Night with the Devil.
Late Night with the Devil.
And
so no, there's
it looked like a
about.
70s talk show. Oh, it was amazing.
It was a very smart movie. Very smart movie. I liked it a lot. So, all right, there we go, everybody. Yeah, so we'll definitely. I mean, I will continue to do my weekly reviews of con. You're welcome to join, Wayne, if you want. It depending on your schedule.
Yeah, no, I'm flightless for the next little while, and definitely flightless once I become green.
Well, come back next Friday, and we'll. I mean, it's Halloween, so I don't know if you have any Halloween plans.
Woo!
I don't.
No, I have no Halloween plans that I'm aware of just yet.
All right, neither do I. Although I'm pumpkin carving with my family for the kids tomorrow. That'll be fun. But and I wanted to tease, and I've said it to my patrons, but this coming week on Word Balloon, I've done top 5 lists before of my favorite old-time radio horror half-hour shows. This year I'm going to do science fiction, old-time radio. And I'm gonna have my list, and I think I'm gonna do both a clip show of just a piece of some of those, but they're all public domain now as well. Those radio shows, so I'm gonna do a version of just me doing like 5 minutes from a show or whatever, but I'll also do a Mondo 2.5 hour introducing the episodes, and you can hear the full episodes because they're great. There's several Ray Bradbury stories. There's also James Blish, who did those Star Trek original series paperback adaptations. He had an amazing 50 story called Surface Tension based on one of his short stories that is incredibly good. But yeah, I've got there are 3 different Ray Bradbury stories and 2 other science fiction stories. So that's coming up. And also I wanted to, especially over this weekend, represent some of the Outer Limits reviews that Gabe Hardman and I. And I figured I'm going to focus on the 2 Harlan Ellison episodes, Soldier and Demon with the Glass Hand, because those are incredible stories. And then also I wanted to do the Architects of Fear, because as you know, that was kind of the inspiration for the monster that Ozymandias and his scientists create for Watchmen. So yeah, I kind of and that is another great episode. Of those 3, I think are the 3 best episodes of Outer Limits, in my opinion.
And I can't remember, but there used to be here on the radio, late night radio, they'd have the like the horror shows. They're just amazing.
Nightfall was one of them, Wayne, from the early 80s.
Okay.
We got it down here on public radio. And
I'm talking 70s.
Oh, pardon me.
I'm going back to the 70s.
Okay. Well, again, this is where I envy the CBC and the BBC, because they stuck with radio throughout. And we had to rediscover audio drama through podcasting, things like Star Trek Con, which we will certainly discuss next week right here on this show. So
the penultimate.
Yeah, the penultimate. I hate that word. It's I don't mean to hate words, But so many people don't realize all that means is it's the second to last episode. It is a
stupid
very
word.
lofty way of saying second to last. And it's like,
Ew.
it's not as special as you think it is. Penultimate. So yes, come back for the penultimate, again, you're right, of Star Trek Con. We'll talk about it next week. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Until next time, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.